So after months of speculating and testiculating, we found our new home for the UFC, Paramount Plus. Dana White just dropped the bombshell announcement of Paramount shoveling an insane $7.7 billion wad of cash into his bald hands over a 7-year period. So that's 1.1 billion gold doubloons for every calendar year. Lord have mercy. Wanna know how big that number is? That is double the amount of lobsters there are in North America. And lobsters aren't endangered. But japes aside, this is monumental. It's been the ESPN train for forever at this point, and many were wondering if they were going to end up sticking with them anyway, despite the butting of heads on both sides. Maybe they could set aside whatever differences were there and come out of it with some new arrangements, maybe? Or maybe we'd see them go to the Netflix route and do away with the pay-per-view model altogether, because it's no secret that for a good few years now, they haven't been doing so hot in that department. Remember when they used to happily share their numbers every major event? They used to rake in hundreds of thousands of buys, no problem. It was like the norm. And if a card was under around the 300K number, it was considered kind of a dud by comparison. But now, ooh boy. 4 years ago, McGregor and Poirier did over $1 million with both their fights. I seriously wonder if those kinds of numbers would even be possible now in the age of streaming with these filthy, stinking pirates lurking around. But anyways, it would seem there was a sneaky little ninja service in our midst because Paramount swooped in and snagged it. Now, starting in 2026, we're going to be taking the pay-per-view out back and blowing its head smooth off, instead getting 13 marquee events per year as well as 30 fight nights. So we're not getting less than we've been getting really, but now we can watch everything by simply paying 13 bones a month on Paramount or catch it on CBS on occasion. This is the new world we're going to be stepping into once the new year hits, and the question is, do I consider this a good thing? Yes, of course. This is indeed a very good thing, duh. I don't think there's a strong leg to stand on for whoever tries to be a contrarian about this. Getting the same amount of events per year but under a much cheaper system is an absolute win. I don't even own Paramount Plus and definitely would probably not be getting it if not for this news. But $13 monthly rather than $80, not even counting the monthly subscription that you pay annually that always manages to sneak up on you. Are you fucking kidding me? Sign me up, man. Let's just get this out of the way. Good riddance, ESPN Plus. I've been forced to use this horrendous interface against my will for far too long. It's laggy, unintuitive, controls like a steamboat depending on the device. Rewinding is a pain in the scrot, and we've had far too many instances of buffering at key moments. Remember back when Juliana Pena shocked the world by taking the belt off Nunes? Yeah. Well, I don't. It just lagged to hell right as the finish was about to happen, and I was off grid for several minutes. It only came back on after Pena was on top of the cage doing this. It was like the two of them entering one of those cartoon dust-ups and the smoke clearing and Nunes is just dead on the pavement. That is maybe the angriest I've ever been at a streaming service or just a device in general. If the CEO of ESPN, John ESPN, was standing next to me at that moment, I would take off his arms. Seriously, using this service to watch my favorite thing is like entering your favorite bagel shop and having to answer 3 riddles before you get a bagel. How about you give me the fucking bagel? And sometimes just trying to find things like an old Dana White Contender Series episode or that Detail by Daniel Cormier show, whatever other niche MMA show you can think of is honestly a chore. I'm convinced they made it confusing on purpose sometimes. And of course, ESPN Plus is directly responsible for the pay-per-view price hike over the last few years. Back when they were like $40 or even $50, I think that was fine. That's fair. When it gets up to $60, okay, we're pushing it. That's not too much more though, whatever. But with every year for a while, it went up until it hit the ceiling at $80 pissing dollars. That is absolutely insane. If you wanted to watch every single pay-per-view event live in 2024, you would have had to fork over $1,120 and just go ahead and throw the annual subscription on top of that. So over $1,200 just to be a UFC fan. Cool. And if they were always stacking these events consistently, then that would be one thing, I guess, but they don't. We're still getting pay-per-views where Kevin Holland is a feature fight in 2025. And let's not let them live down trying to make us pay this amount to watch Bo Nickel do 0 amazing things against raw sewage for competition. But despite all of that, we can't blame Dana or the UFC for it. They had no control over the price. It was all ESPN, baby. And I'm convinced that this continuous price hike combined with the UFC's conveyor belt method of promotion is the reason why pay-per-view sales have drastically gone down the shitter. These people on both sides of the coin here have no one to blame but themselves. To clarify, I do not advocate for illegal streaming, but it's kind of unreasonable to expect everyone to have that kind of extra scratch every 3 or 4 weeks. My personal go-to has been Buffalo Wild Wings for years now, because I'd much rather get some wings and drinks with friends and pay about 1/3 or less of what I would at home. It's also a more fun atmosphere. For the remainder of this ESPN deal, I'd recommend anyone in the US to do the same, but I understand that's not going to apply to everyone, obviously. Anyways, where was I? My hyperbole meter is looking like it's in the red, but I'll hit ESPN Plus with one more insult. Mr. ESPN. So on to greener pastures we go. I'm pretty excited for the switch to Paramount. As long as the interface is solid, I'll be a happy camper. I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic because there are a few elements to this that do have me a little nervous. First of all, Dana White already kind of rolled back the whole death of the pay-per-view thing right out the gate by saying he'll basically keep the door open to monetize some events in the future on a case-by-case basis. And while this is kind of putting a sharp pencil in the exercise ball right after getting this exciting news, I do think it was smart of him to do this now rather than doing what DAZN did by starting off with no pay-per-view model and then trying to make everyone go back to it later. I think it's fine if they ever do something monumental like another sphere card or some money fight that materializes down the line, but I hope we don't just get a year of the UFC being affordable for fans and then them walking it back entirely. I'm afraid you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube once you've already promised all this, but we'll see. I'm not really too concerned about fighter pay necessarily. Dana did come out and say that bonuses would go up, and it's not like pay-per-view points are going to be missed by the main event fighters. I don't think they've been making that much off that anyway. I can't see a reason why the fighters to start making less with this deal. I hope they make more. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to hamper how much money people are already making. No, my other concern lies more with the quality control. We've already seen the continued use of the Apex card make them kind of lazy in the matchmaking before because they don't have to sell it to a crowd. When you apply that to not having to sell it to an online audience, will this affect how much they give a shit to promote and stack cards? I really, truly hope not. Not trying to be a negative Nancy, just had a few things that give me a bit of pause, but it's all speculation right now. But overall, I'm pumped. It's gonna be exciting to see this new UFC era. Let's hope we're wandering into the best because we're not in the best right now.